Hey guys, just Dan here with another update for you guys about movies, comics, video games, TV shows that I believe are worth mentioning. Let's get right into it. First things first, we have news about Star Wars, and that is that for the Han Solo film, see what I did there, that they are looking to put Boba Fett in it, and that they are considering none other than Michael B. Jordan playing the character. Now, this I would not have a problem with because I'm just completely ignoring the prequels altogether. And I believe that Michael B. Jordan is a fantastic actor and that he has a lot of personality, and that's one of the things that I believe that Boba Fett was missing. And I don't know, I think that he could definitely bring something to this, and like I said, I want to retcon the prequels, and I'd be okay with it, like, just not knowing what Boba Fett looks like in the prequels, and then just going with an entirely new version of the character. And for someone like Michael B. Jordan to be taking over that role, I'd be okay with it. I mean, it would definitely get the bad taste of Fantastic Four out of my mouth, and let me tell you, that guy needs a comeback. Like, he needs to redeem himself after that movie. Next up is news about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and that it was confirmed by Zoe Saldana. Not only well, obviously she's going to be returning in the movie, but one character who will be returning is Benicio del Toro as the Collector, and thank God, because he was one of my favorite characters in the entire movie, and I can't say no to Benicio, so look forward to that. More news about Marvel, including that during his premiere for Trumbo, Bryan Cranston did say that he would like to play, quote-unquote, a nasty Marvel villain, like a classic one. Now, I'm not sure if this goes with saying that he would be playing an original character. If he would be, then I would be alright with that. But one character I could definitely see him playing is Norman Osborn. And if anyone is listening, definitely consider him for that role. For this new Spider-Man, John Watts, if you're watching this, please consider Bryan Cranston for Norman Osborn. Next up is news about another Marvel project, and that is Ant-Man. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up Ant-Man is because Marvel just announced another project in their Phase 3 lineup, which has taken over the release date for Black Panther, and that is going to be an Ant-Man sequel. And not just an Ant-Man sequel. It's not going to be called Ant-Man 2. It will be titled, quote-unquote, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, this will be, aside from Captain Marvel already announcing her movie, this will be the first movie that will be released with the heroine's name in it. And I could not be any more excited than I am already. Evangeline Lilly was phenomenal as Hope Van Dame, and I can't wait to see more of her. And I'm definitely sure that she will be returning for Avengers Infinity War Part 1. And if you're wondering what the other release dates are going to be, Black Panther, now you would think that it would get moved back, but it's actually going to get an earlier release, and it will be released on February 16th, 2018. So you can see it 2 days right after Valentine's Day. I mean, hey, there's nothing to complain there. And also, Captain Marvel has moved her release date, and that will be on March 8th, 2019. And also, they have announced 3 more Marvel movies for Phase 4. They are untitled at the moment, and the release dates for those are May 1st, 2020, July 10th, 2020, and November 6th, 2020. So look forward to that. Next up is news about Avengers Infinity War, and it has been announced what the budget is, and it's a huge budget. It's about $1 billion. Now, it would make sense for a studio like that to have that kind of budget, because you're getting all these characters. You're not only just getting the Avengers, but possibly the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be there. You're going to have Josh Brolin returning as Thanos. You're probably going to be bringing back the majority of the villains, including Loki, maybe even Ultron. You know for a fact Ultron is not dead. He's not. You can't kill off Ultron. He's like one of the biggest Marvel baddies ever. I mean, it's criminal. It really is criminal to get rid of a character like that. And it's reasonable for this movie to be that amount of money. This is like the big finale, and the one thing that I'm wondering is, for Phase 4, how do you top the Infinity War? Well, only time will tell. Next up is news about Inhumans, and that is, there was a rumor recently that Marvel would be scrapping the Inhumans movie, and that it would just be related to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, and which would have made sense, considering that they've already established that Inhumans exist in this world and that they play a huge part in the TV show. But it turns out that it's not false, that it is going to still be released in July of 2019, 2 months right after Infinity Wars Part 2. And, you know, I can't complain about that. I mean, I would say Inhumans would probably be one of the Marvel movies that I'm the least anticipated for, but I'm still looking forward to it overall because, hey, it's a Marvel movie, and I can't say no to Marvel, and we deserve to see characters like that. I mean, if people kept on saying, like, do we really need to see an Inhumans movie? No, but it would be nice to see that. I mean, hey, did we need a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Absolutely not. But you know what? We got it, and it was one of Marvel's greatest movies of all time, and it's still in the top 250 on IMDb. So, I gotta say, keep the Inhumans movie lined up. Next up is about X-Men Apocalypse, and that is, they announced the synopsis, and that one of the things that intrigued me was that Mystique is now the leader of the X-Men. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know too much about the plot. I'm trying to stay very vague on it, but I'll have more for you when I have more information on X-Men Apocalypse, but it does turn out that, you know, Magneto will also be working with Apocalypse under his control as one of the Four Horsemen. But I think we already knew about that. Next up is news about Wonder Woman, and that it is said that it will be, and this is again a rumor, that it will be set in 3 different time periods, and not only will this be DC's first, for the DC Cinematic Universe, or DC Extended Universe if you want to be specific, their first female superhero live action movie, and it kind of reminds me of what they're going with, like, with Captain America the First Avenger, but here's what it says. Like, the first half of the movie will be set in the 40s, around World War II. The second half will be set specifically in 1916, which I guess would be a flashback. I feel like it would make more sense to have that and then 1940. And then the third part of the movie will be set in modern day. And this kind of sounds a lot like a cross between Captain America the First Avenger and the recent Steve Jobs movie, which I yet to see, and once I do, I will review it. But yeah, I think this is an interesting take. And they said that Wonder Woman will go through many costume changes, and I'm alright with that. I mean, she's had a few different costumes over the years, and maybe she'll go from like the silk costume that we usually saw in the 1930s, and then we'll probably get like the classic costume for like the 40s. But what I have a theory is that for the modern one, they're gonna go with like what Wonder Woman looks like now. I mean, for that one, not like how it looks like right now for Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Maybe that suit is from the 1940s, and maybe she'll bring it back, just either because it's her favorite or also for fan service. But I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think of it right now. I mean, all I can say is that I'm excited for Wonder Woman whatsoever, and I'll keep you guys updated about that news. Next up is news about The Flash, and that there are more reports on the details of the suit. We yet to see Ezra Miller in the Flash costume, and the rumor is that the suit will look more like a tech-based costume, and that he's described as like a huge tech geek. So the theory that I have is that it is very possible that the Flash costume might look like the costume that we're used to seeing, not what we're used to seeing, but the costume in the video game Injustice: Gods Among Us, which is one of my favorite Flash costumes of all time. It just looks so badass, it looks so authentic, and I could definitely see that kind of suit working in this new DC world. I mean, it would definitely fit in with what kind of kit, because if they went with the spandex costume, I think it would look a little out of place. But I mean, for this new Flash costume, with the Flash costume that they have on the show, that's probably one of my favorites right now. And, I mean, that could probably work in a movie, but this one's going to be a little bit more like an armor. I mean, hearing that, I'm still scratching my head. I yet to see what it looks like. I mean, it'll probably do the same thing for me, like what I've been thinking of, like when I saw Heroes and Villains for the first time in a still, and then seeing them moving around. Like, for instance, Jared Leto's Joker. Like, when I saw a picture of him, I was very skeptical of it. However, when I saw him in the Suicide Squad trailer, when I saw him moving and talking, I was sold, and I had no complaints about it. So hopefully, something tells me that something's going to happen the same way with The Flash when he comes out. But I yet to see what he looks like, and hopefully he won't disappoint. Next up is news about Justice League Dark. Yes, Justice League Dark might actually be happening, and that's all I know so far. And like they said that this will probably be like Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC world. So meaning that they will establish that the Justice League and other DC comic characters exist in that universe, but they're going to mainly be focusing on their stories. Like, for Guardians of the Galaxy, they establish that the Marvel Cinematic Universe exist, like all the characters from Avengers, Ant-Man, and so forth, they exist. But the Guardians, they're strictly focused on their own mission, and that it felt like its own thing, and it didn't cram too many Easter eggs, and if it did, then you must be really insightful into, like, analyzing into, like, what's going on. So, yeah, I mean, with this Justice League Dark movie, I'd be totally up for that. Whether Guillermo is returning, I'm not sure about that. Hopefully he will be. I would love to see him return to the comic book world, and he still needs to make Hellboy 3. That is a given, and I know he's working on Pacific Rim 2, but as soon as he's done with that, he needs to get on Hellboy 3, and if he has the time, to direct Justice League Dark. Next up is more news about Power Rangers, and that they have casted the Pink Ranger Kimberly, and her name is Naomi Scott. Now, for those of you who don't know who Naomi Scott is, she's a newcomer, and she made one of her debuts in this year's The Martian, which is another movie I yet to see. And I am definitely up for this. I mean, personally, I would have loved to see Chloe Grace Moretz as Kimberly, or one of the rumors they were going with Anna Sophia Scott. But I'm satisfied with this choice. I mean, I don't know too much about her, which is a good thing, so maybe now I'll see her as Kimberly and not as anything else. Now, with that kind of news, you would think that this movie would be a reboot, right? Well, you're wrong, because it has been said that this movie will play into continuity with the current TV show Dino Charge, which I yet to watch, but from what I heard, it is awesome. And this is also the season where it does not have a Yellow Ranger, and this is also the season where it introduces the very first African-American Pink Ranger. So, again, different stuff there, and I'm liking that. But, well, let me read what the writers said first about, like, when it came to villains of this new movie. And they said this: Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed will not be the main antagonist. As loyal fans of the series know, and this could be considered a spoiler here, so be warned, both of those villains were among the evil forces purified by Zordon's energy wave, or the Z-Wave. That spread peace throughout the universe. However, not all adversaries were neutralized. There's even one major villain from early days of the series who promised she would return, but never did, promoting people to assume that she was destroyed or turned good by the Z-Wave. Yes, I'm talking about Scorpina, of course. Sources tell us that a ruthless, dangerous minion of Rita has returned to plague the Rangers once more, and it seems she's brought an army, which uses to battle the Power Rangers and their robot Megazords in the epic opening battle scene. From what we're hearing, the Rangers, presumably the Dino Charge team at this point, are protecting the morphing grid, an energy field that provides power to every generation of Power Rangers. Now, this source comes from Collider.com, and they are, like, almost 100% accurate when it comes to this news. So I'll put that in the link below as well. How I feel about this? I don't know. Like, if this is not a reboot, then why recast the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I mean, maybe it's one thing, maybe it isn't. Sound off in the comments below. Like, maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm not. Maybe the article will update, but I'll put that in the description below so that you can get more information out of that than what I'm giving you right now. But so far, that's what's happening. As for the thoughts about Scorpina being the villain, for those of you who don't know, Scorpina was one of Rita Repulsa's lieutenants, and she also was the wife of Goldar and even had a kid with him. And she was another character who, again, she was presumed dead, but she never returned, and we didn't know where she went off from there. So it would make sense to bring her back. Now, if they were to reboot the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, now that I think about it, I think it would be an interesting take if the villains of that were not Rita or Zed, but Goldar and Scorpina, and they set off a rampaging loose of monsters just running around, and it would be up to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to stop them. That movie I would I would see the hell out of that, let me just say right there. So hopefully this all goes well, and hopefully, you know, it doesn't disappoint. I'm looking forward to more news from it, so stay tuned for more of that. Next up is news about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, and that is more casting news, bigger names. Ron Perlman has joined the cast, and it said that he will be playing a goblin. Now, I could see Ron Perlman doing something like that. I could see him like being like a goblin king or something. So look forward to that. Next up is news about Assassin's Creed, this new Assassin's Creed movie, and that is that they described this movie to be a combination between Blade Runner and Batman Begins. Now, seeing both of those movies and having both of those movies be two of my favorite movies of all time, that definitely sounds like what an Assassin's Creed movie would be. And from what I'm hearing about this new movie, I've been satisfied for what they've been going with, but I'm, again, still skeptical. I don't know what to expect because video game movies have not been that all great. So, for video game movies, we're getting 3 in the same year. We're getting the Assassin's Creed movie, we're getting Warcraft, directed by Duncan Jones, and technically this is an app, but I'll consider it a video game movie, and that is Angry Birds, which you know for a fact that's going to make a shitload of money. So hopefully this Assassin's Creed movie does well, and it has Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard, or Cotillard. I can never pronounce her name right, and that's one thing you'll get used to me, is butchering people's last names. And both of them were both in Macbeth. And that was supposedly, the director of Macbeth will be directing the Assassin's Creed movie. So that gives me hope, and hopefully that will be, the Assassin's Creed movie will be successful as his previous one. Next up is some TV news, and that is about Agent Carter. Now, I just want to say, I've only seen the first 2 episodes of Agent Carter. I'm waiting for it on Netflix, and once I finish the entire first season, that I will give a review on. I know I'm promising a lot of reviews, and I will get to those. But the news is that one of the villains has been casted, and that is Wynn Everett will be playing the villain Madame Mask, which, yeah, bringing a mainstream villain to a TV show like this, well, she's not mainstream, but, you know, she's well known in the comics. I believe she's in the new Iron Man comics, so I'll be reading that, and that is another one I will be reviewing, so look forward to that. Next up is news about Daredevil Season 2, and that is that the poster was just released, and same with a few, the teaser for Season 2 was released at New York Comic Con. It was a little too out of focus to see what was going on, but one of the things that did catch my eye was that they were, I believe it was Karen or one of the police officer was looking at like a photo of a stylized skull symbolizing the Punisher, and we do get to see Jon Bernthal as the Punisher, and he's walking down he's walking in a hospital with a gun. You see like the back of his head, and you hear the words "beg." And then it just says Daredevil Season 2, and he is another one who I am pumped to see in the show. Punisher is one of my all-time favorite comic book characters, and when I heard that Jon Bernthal was going to be playing him, I was like, yes, yes, so much yes. So look forward to all of that. Next up is news about Jessica Jones, and that we got a new promo for the show. This time, kind of introducing the Purple Man, played by David Tennant. It shows Jessica Jones, played by Kristen Ritter, putting up a bunch of photos, and you hear David Tennant's voice saying, I know all your secrets. I know about your friends. And you finally get to see her face. And yeah, it's Kristen Ritter, but you know, we've all been waiting for that moment. And then she leaves the room, and then the pictures that are all on the wall makes a face, and that it's like it looks like it's looking directly into your soul. And it has him going, Jessica, I know everything. And having David Tennant play a character like that. Like, first we got Vincent D'Onofrio, now we got the Doctor. I mean, the villains for the Netflix series, I feel like they are actually a lot better than the ones in the movies. And not only because that they're really well written, and I think it's because it's a TV show, you have a lot more screen time to develop it. And they also said that this show, there was a review for the pilot, and they said that this show is a lot more darker than Daredevil. Now, I don't know how you could do that, but as soon as it comes out in November, I'll be watching that and judging, like, yeah, how much darker could it get? I mean, it probably is. I mean, the Alias comics are probably a lot more darker than I can imagine. And also for Jessica Jones, it has been announced that one of the villains from Daredevil, Nuke, will make an appearance in the Jessica Jones show. So hopefully this lives up to its potential. It's getting me really excited, so I'm looking forward to that. Next up is news about The Flash. And that it's a small thing, but something that I want to point out, that Mark Hamill will be returning as the Trickster in Season 2. Now, seeing him in the first season, I was all up for that. As soon as I saw him, he reminded me of a lot between the Joker and Hannibal Lecter on how they were treating him. And he was one of my favorite parts of that, one of my favorite characters in the entire series, and I'm glad that he's returning again. I just started watching the Flash show, and it is awesome. And hopefully this will... I hope that this season it's going to top the first season in a lot of ways. And the last bit of news I want to talk about is... it's about video games, finally, and that is we got a trailer for LEGO Marvel Avengers. Now, here's what I gotta say about this. I'm mixed about this game because it looks like a lot of fun, and you're gonna be able to play levels from Captain America the First Avenger, The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm just hoping that when the DLC comes out that they'll finally announce one for Guardians of the Galaxy and Ant-Man, and hopefully soon, if this game is successful after a few months that it's released, that it will do the same for Captain America Civil War. Now, the reason why LEGO Marvel Superheroes is one of my favorite games of all time is that you can essentially be anyone in that game. You could be Spider-Man, you could be Black Panther, you could be Doctor Strange, you could be Black Bolt, you could be the Guardians of the Galaxy, you could be Nightmare, you could pretty much name anyone and they'll probably have it, except for Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and Vision, and Ultron, but they will be in LEGO Avengers. And the problem that I'm having is that I feel like you're bringing it down a little with less characters, and what I feel like they're doing is that they're only bringing in characters from the movies, which I hope that those amount of characters will live up to what we got in Marvel Superheroes, the LEGO version, which that is what I want a sequel to. I want to see more characters out of that. I want to see Nightcrawler. I want to see Ultron. I want to see the Vision. And hopefully those will all deliver. And that is it for the news today. Today's question is, with Bryan Cranston rumored to be... no. Here's actually two questions I want to hear from you guys. Question number one. What Marvel character would you like to see Bryan Cranston play in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And the question number two, with 3 untitled Marvel projects that are in the works right now for 2020, what do you think those 3 movies are? List down in the comments below, and hopefully once I have enough subscribers, I will get a lot of answers out of that. And that is it for today. Until then, oh, before I do, if you want to do me a favor, hit that subscribe, where is it? Hit that subscribe button right there. It would mean a lot to me. And that's it for today. Until then, this is Just Dan saying, "Flee ya!"